Hi, this is Dennis from Ableton. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the APC40 mkII from Akai Professional. The APC40 mkII is a dedicated controller for Ableton Live, and it comes with a copy of Live Lite, so you can get started making music right away. In this video, I'm going to be using the Suite edition of Ableton Live to demonstrate some additional features, which we'll talk about later. And all of the music that you'll hear in this video uses instruments and loops that come with the APC40. Live should auto-detect the APC40 as soon as you connect it to your computer and turn it on. You'll know it's working because Live Session View will show a colored ring around an 8x5 block of clips. This ring shows the current clips and tracks that will be controlled by the APC40. If the automatic setup doesn't work, you can fix this in Live's MIDI sync preferences by making sure that the APC40 mkII is selected in the Control Surface chooser and the Input and Output choosers. The APC40's button matrix gives you control over Live Session View. The matrix has 40 RGB buttons arranged in a 5-scene deep by 8-track wide grid. The color coding of the buttons tells you what's happening in each clip, and simple directional controls let you move around inside Live Session View. Pressing a clip launch button triggers the corresponding clip in Live. If the track is armed to record, pressing a button records a new clip, which we'll talk about more later. The buttons in the matrix light up in different colors so you know what's going on. Playing clips pulse green, recording clips pulse red, and non-playing clips are the same color as the clips in your live set. You can stop all music in a track with the track's clip stop button, and fire horizontal rows of clips with the scene launch buttons. Stop all clips stops all playing clips in all tracks. The clip slots currently being controlled by the button matrix are shown in Live with a colored border. Directional arrows and the Shift and Bank buttons increase the scope of the 8x5 grid. Pressing up or down moves you up or down one scene at a time. The left and right arrows move you left or right one track at a time. If you hold Shift while pressing the arrow buttons, you can move the grid by 8 tracks or 5 scenes at a time. Pressing Bank toggles bank lock on or off. When it's on, the arrows behave as if Shift is held down. The APC40's Session Overview lets you navigate through large live sets quickly. Hold down the Shift button, and the matrix zooms out to reveal an overview of your session view. In the Session Overview, each button represents a 5-scene by 8-track block of clips, giving you a matrix of 125 scenes by 64 tracks. Hit a button to focus on that section of the session view. For example, hitting the Shift button and then pressing the button in row 3, column 1 will put the focus on scenes 11 through 15 and tracks 1 through 8. In the Session Overview, the color coding is a little different. Amber indicates the currently selected block of clips, which will be surrounded by the colored border in the software. Green shows that there are clips playing in that block of clips, although that may not be the block of clips that's selected. Red shows that there are no clips playing in that range. And if there's no color, that means there are no tracks or scenes in that range. The APC40 has 8 tracks, each with its own fader, solo, mute, record arm, and crossfader assignment buttons. A master fader controls the master volume, and a Q level knob controls Q volume, so you can pre-listen to a clip or the metronome without your audience hearing it. The APC40 features a set of device control buttons and 8 endless knobs that map to your devices automatically. The track selection buttons route the 8 endless encoders to the first device or rack on that track, with LED rings to automatically show you the levels of the selected parameter. Device left and device right shift you to the previous or next device in a track's device chain. Some effects or virtual instruments have more than 8 parameters. When one of these devices is selected, the bank left and bank right buttons shift to the previous or next bank of 8 device parameter controls. The 4 buttons below give you additional control options. Device on or off turns the selected device on or off. Device lock locks the device control knobs to the currently selected device. When a device is locked, it will always be controlled by these knobs, even when other tracks or devices are selected. Clip Device View lets you switch between editing the devices on a track or the properties of a track's clip in the currently selected scene. Detail View opens or closes the Clip Device View. Seven buttons and an encoder provide control of Live's transport and tempo functionality. Play toggles the transport on or off. Hold Shift while pressing play to return Live's transport to 1.1.1 without starting playback. Record toggles the arrangement record function, allowing you to record into Live's arrangement view. Session toggles session record, allowing you to record MIDI, audio, or automation into empty clip slots or overdub into existing clips. So now I'm recording some MIDI into a new clip. And now I'm punching out so that we play it back. And now I'll record some automation into the same clip. Metronome toggles the metronome on or off. The tap, tempo, and nudge buttons are useful for live performance and allow you to adjust to turntables, live musicians, or a full band and correct timing issues quickly. You can also count in with the tap tempo button. If you're working in a 4/4 time signature, it takes 4 taps to start song playback at the tap tempo. The nudge buttons temporarily speed up or slow down Live's playback. The tempo encoder adjusts Live's tempo in increments of 1 BPM. Hold Shift while adjusting to set tempo in increments of 0.1 BPM. Additionally, Live's global launch quantization can be set from the APC40 by holding Shift and pressing one of the track select buttons. The track control encoders allow you to adjust pan, sends, and additional user-assignable controls for whichever 8 tracks are currently selected. With pan selected, we adjust track pans. Pressing sends switches the encoders to sends control. Currently, send A is selected, and you can see that the levels of send A for tracks 6 and 7 are already up. I can switch to send B by holding sends and pressing the next track select button. I could switch to up to 8 available sends by pressing one of these buttons. So now I'll adjust track sends for the first track. Send A and send B. If I hold sends, I can see which send is currently active. You can also switch to user mode to MIDI map these encoders to any parameters in Live. So I've switched to user mode, and now I'll assign this first encoder to the cutoff of an autofilter device on the master track. Now, as long as I'm in user mode, I control this parameter. But I can still switch back to controlling pans or sends. The APC40's crossfader is an essential DJ control. Use the crossfade assign buttons to set any track as an A or B destination, and then crossfade between A and B with the crossfader. Amber indicates a track is set to A, while orange shows it's set to B. Unlit means there's no assignment, so the track will be heard regardless of the position of the crossfader. Connect a FOOTSWITCH to the port on the back of the APC40 to allow for hands-free control of live session recording functionality. Each time you tap the pedal once, you'll toggle between recording and playback of the currently selected clip slot. Now I'll toggle recording again to overdub some automation. Double tapping the pedal moves to the next available slot, allowing you to start a new idea. You can change the assignment of all the knobs, faders, and buttons on the APC40. To prepare the APC40 for custom mapping, you'll need to return to the MIDI Sync tab of Live's Preferences. Then enable the remote switch for the input and output ports for the APC40. Note that these settings will probably already be enabled as soon as you set up the APC40. Enabling an input port's remote switch tells Live that it should listen for MIDI control messages arriving from that port, while the remote switch for the output port allows changes made within Live to be sent out to the controller. Now, by entering Live's MIDI map mode, you can override the pre-assigned functions of all the APC40's knobs, faders, and buttons. This is especially useful for assigning the track control knobs in user mode. As an example, I'll remap the Q level knob to scroll through session view scenes. First, I enter MIDI map mode. Then I click the Scene Select control and turn the Q level knob. When I exit MIDI map mode, the knob will be reassigned. If you've overridden the APC40's default mappings with manual mappings, you can easily switch back to the defaults by deactivating the remote switch of the APC40's input port. Activating the switch again will re-establish your manual mappings. When you connect more than one APC20, APC40, or APC40 Mark II to your computer, the controllers will automatically work in combination mode. You can use up to 6 APC controllers side by side. The topmost controller selected in your preferences will control tracks 1 through 8, and the second controller selected will control tracks 9 through 16, and so on. Moving the ring on one controller will move the ring on the others. So that was a quick look at the Akai Professional APC40 Mark II. Thanks for watching.